there was huge, even some pocket, you can say, resentment and people because the workers' right were, you can say, compromised. So across the world, that kind of scenario has emerged. Uh, if you try to look at some of the HR indicator here, at what exactly is, uh, or we can see what performance of the company is on. So we try to look at the individual level, at employee level. So we'll try to look at the employee level. I basically, I'm trying today lecture, I'm trying to say other than organizational performance, because organizational performance is all about how you use financial and non-financial resources, am I right? And then that leads to overall performance. But here, employee performance or team performance, or because is more important, because individual performance makes the organization performance. So from HR perspective, I'll focus more on that. So let's look at here. Because, yeah, attitude is very important. I just talked about the risk of their curtail the risk of the people and all, and develop that positive attitude that is just in time. Engagement and commitment, motivation. So already talked about trust. So these are, I'm just categorizing. Unit level, like department level, again, like getting more complex and all, because different what kind of scenario you are there. Organization as a whole, the retooling is being done. Most of the organization, they are going into looking into how they can do with minimum, designing jobs, like I say, because the changes in their operations and all that is happening. Work from home, I just told you in the beginning that that is a big challenge, and people, that's the trust issue, right? So most of the people working from home, this has, other than IT sector, right, or some sector where the still work from home is the reality. Like we have been teaching work from home, and many people say work from home is something like, many countries say, yeah, they lost 2 years of the education, though they have been teaching, but despite that, they are saying, so what does mean, what was desired, that was not achieved. Learning has taken a back seat, like we talk about organizational learning, and which is very much required now. This is the big challenge for many places and all, especially in my research. I'm finding this, like, because of the physical interface or social interface missing. So sometimes the employee has to do on his own, and that is a challenge. Yeah, flexibility. Like I talked about, these issues remain, like, very relevant. Innovation and overall social climate. So they are very important issue, like I said earlier. Yeah, everything is the money, am I right? The financial indicator. So no HR can say, yeah, I can manage people without. So most of these are part of, because the HR is becoming more strategic now. So in that case, of course, how to cut the cost, and then how to conduct, or how your HR policy, which add to your competitive advantage. So those people resources are very important, and how your prices or stock exchanges is doing such prices now. Your reward strategy also very important to engage and retain good people, because like we just talked about. So if you try to, I'm just cutting out. So yeah, these are the issues we'll talk about. Or here we already talked some of these issues. You will find some of them being repeated, but nothing wrong in that. So if you try to see what exactly performance dimensions, like, like I say, you just look most of them. So attitude we talk about is very, that's number one issue. Performance, I talked about appraisal and team performance. So though the basic remains same, but it's still how you are going to work from home. Then how, these are the big challenge for the organization to come up with, like, people, because like we teach, sometimes the students are sitting on the other side. Either they have 10 gadgets in the house, so they put into as the participating. So if they are not showing their face, the camera is switched off, they are being seen only by name. Either they are listening to my lecture or not, either they are in the meeting or they are sleeping, no idea. So there is a trust issue, and many stories are there, and people, like, we all sort of people, but I'm not saying that many people, like, who are very committed, even, like, when they are online, and they are not visible there. So they are, that is also the story. Yeah, good behavior and all we talk about. Health safety we talk. Cost of profile, and, like, the employee. So there is, they're focusing, like, how to appropriate, like there are core worker and periphery workers. So that has come into a center stage now, to deal with less people and all. And those HR activities, so you have to look in the cost involved, either it is the training and all, and its efficacy, how it is going to contribute and all. And of course, everything has to connect with what you are doing. So customer at the heart of that. very important one. So adding on value, adding to competitive advantage, that is the key and test of all HR intervention or HR tool. We talk about performance management system, like I was just talking about. So any performance management uh, is a continuous process. We talk about employee performance or team performance and all, and it is a continuous process in terms of, like I put it here, identifying, yeah, what you want to measure. So what define performance, what you mean by performance. Most of the time people don't know what is the performance. So morning, evening, that just goes, the shift goes. So you have to be very clear in terms of key result area, key performance indicator has to be given, and they should be equipped with right kind of competence, like we talk about. Because we say the performance is function of three things. Number one is they have declarative knowledge. So declarative knowledge is those kind of knowledge which they have the fact and things, like what exactly in a given context required. But the most important is procedural knowledge. So procedural knowledge is to do with what to do and how to do it. You understand? That's the key issue. And the third issue is their motivation, which you talk about. Motivation, right? We all different names and different you can put into different nomenclature and all, but motivation remains same. The fire inside, the commitment, the engagement of employee. We are talking organization, citizenship behavior, different name you see, you try to look into, but motivation is the key issue. So either the people, the fire is there to put the efforts. So number one, are they ready to put their efforts? And at what level they are going to put the effort? This is also key issue. So level, like you're working on 100% or 50% or just relax, or you're going more than 100%, so that your level of efforts you're going to expend depends on you as an individual and the environment they create. And the third and most important thing is the consistency of the efforts in motivation. So that's the key issue here. So yeah, so there is a measure and develop. This is a very important area. You look into those. So first you identify what is performance. The performance standards should be very clearly and all, and you have to give message. It's very important, because if you don't have a appropriate metrics, it's not going to work for you. Developing, you are going to have gap and all, so that feedback process is very important. And whatever your performance is, the alignment, the first thing we just talked about. So any performance, if it is not aligned, yeah, if you look at this will give you better idea. This is the basic framework in most of the places. I mean, any management literature you will find. So I have just tried to put my stuff, yeah, redefining your strategic priority in the given scenario and all. So you have to connect with your what you're doing should go well. So it is very well stratified and well, like laid out with the unit plan, and critical to involve here. So this is how you promote, like the bottom up approach happening in your organization. So that is the key issue. uh, yeah, here we talk about job description, people what they are doing, their knowledge, skill, abilities part, and that depends, like how far they are, the degree of supervision, centralization, or empowerment you need. So that is also again a context based. It depends on your culture, work environment, and the kind of organization you have grown over a period of time. So it doesn't, you cannot straight jacket one organization, or what is the benchmarking, what is happening organization is relevant for organization. You have to look into, you have to find your own solution, and then you have to see the individual and team performance in that context. So then you have to see what exactly is, but not always look into result. Very important is focus on behavior as well, and to come up with development plans. All these three goes together in creating a good performance management. Otherwise, it will not will you take you miles. Yeah, if you have a poor, you can say, performance management system for those HR tools, uh, they will cut down the people's motivation, like I say. So very important is to take care of people motivation, the engagement. Yeah, not to lead into burnout and job dissatisfaction to that level that can lead happens. Yeah, of course, workplace relationship, provide communication is key issue we just talked about, trust deficit. let people don't leave and all, creating a pushing people and all, decrease in motivation, unjustified demand on resources. These are unfair standard rating. Yeah, these are some of the. If your system is not good, then it is going to have that sort of. Yeah. Few things here I'm just cautioning, especially in, like I already talked in the beginning, is saying if you try to put, like, here somewhere in HR department, and you see, yeah, if you do this, some of the HR managers, they do like that, and they think, yeah, it is going to yield you result. No, there is no shortcut. It is a long term, but at the same time, whatever you are tooling, the interconnectedness of those tools. So there is a acquisition, utilization, deployment of people, and development, and then compensation. All these function has to be coherent, right? They should be integrated, and how what you are doing is integrated with your uh, strategies. That is very important. So that's why I say measuring HR does not lead to change or improvement. Sometimes some of these fancy HR, like, they go into that, but it doesn't lead you. So your HR intern varies between, like you were saying in the beginning also, I was saying, what is relevant in one context, already talked about. Benchmarking may therefore not be useful. I already told you, prevention A and B. I was just going through McKinsey, like, the podcast few days back, and wonderful, these consultants sometimes they, because they are dealing in day-to-day practice, and one of the discussion going on, and they found there is a huge disconnect sometimes between what the employer, I mean manager, and an employee think the main issue is. Like the employee saying, "Hey, people must be leaving for another job." This is especially happening in the West right now, or even in Indian situation. You can relate, so they are sometimes getting better job or better pay because there is a spurt of resignation going on. This is huge. So most of the companies are under, like, threat that they will lose those core workers. Especially they are more concerned, like, the core competence. So these core workers, so they are losing. So most of the, like, C-suite people are under threat, and they are having. So that's the discussion going on. Yes, employees are saying, no, I'm leaving because I don't feel valued at the work. So the way you look at the people, this is the key issue. Like at present context, that is what exactly I'm trying to say. So even asking the right question and getting the right frame can bring a fact-based and broader lens to make sure we are having the right conversation. So it is all about gap of communication between why people are not understanding, why people are leaving, because you have to look at the present COVID context or this pandemic context, why people are leaving. What, because the priority get changed and all. So how you can accommodate that, and what you are feeling them. You can't push like you were happening earlier, like, so that's the happening. Uh, yeah, here a more lines from there. This is especially the Hancock and Green, their discussion. That's why I referred here. McKinsey podcast. I think Green has written a wonderful book. I think recently from. A really good people analytics function. That is what exactly HR analytics and the people analytics talking. They combine the broad view, the understanding of organizational research, the broad understanding that field that has been around for a while, and we know what motivates people. So you have to understand again the contextuality and all and people, and then brings that to be a highlight of individual facts and all. So you can't generalize, you can't go what is happening in other places and all. So here the HR has to play important role. That's the very key issue here. That's saying the HR challenges here in terms of people management, and there is an elevated role of CHRO, which means more expectation for the function because that is coming push from the CEOs and those top managers, and it thirsts for data to drive decision around people, more interest from the C level and more demand from the C level as well. So in that case, you must develop a good people analytics team to collect those data and to be very informed to make a you can say informed decisions. That is very much required. So that's why saying here, good people analytics teams have been more focused around employees and understanding how employees are feeling at the various stages of the time, and then building that into their approach to hybrid work, especially like, some days off, some days on. So that kind of, like, hybrid work, which is emerging across world and all, that is also reality. So that analytics is going to work in recent time. So just summing up, more or less I have done here. A few issues we'll discuss in question answer and all. Uh, so if we try to look at how to build support, and most of the people try to look at what is in it for me as an individual. I'm not interested what companies are doing. So you have to look at the people perspective when you are managing people. So very important for top management here. So creating that kind of support which we just talked about, between performance and humanistic leadership, being more proactive, redefining of leadership, role model. Many companies, like, they didn't fire people, they went into, they cut down their salaries and all, but they retain. I have seen many companies here. So they say, okay, we will pay you 50 days, or you go on during this vacation time. So you just initial, like many companies here, send people on their vacation and all, just to avoid that labor cost, am I right? And later on, they say, okay, 50% or some accommodate. Some company went into firing. So it depends on what kind of leadership, because that gives message to the people who are left in the organization. So it is very important what kind of a strategy. But then again, it depends what kind of sector you are. So that is not you can. So that's why the individual contexts are very important. And especially for line managers, support and ownership is very important for the situation here. Those an operation manager and all. So they should take charge and no more blame game, passing the buck on the other. So rather the first hand take it and then go through and involve the HR as a competence building, am I right, in terms of that. So some of the company, yeah, like we already again we talked about. So communication and trust is a two issue you see every my PowerPoint, like, somewhere and all these emerging. Involve employee in the design process. Very difficult. Very company will think into. But yeah, and then you must have very informed employees and all, your talented employees and all. But that is the best solution that gives you an implementation. Difficult but possible. It gives you better result. That is what they call, especially developing a strategic consensus. So taking people on board and all, and moving in that direction rather than just coming from the top, or informed choices and all. So that exactly is, if labor law regulation and all like happening in India happen, many changes and all, then involve people, involve their unions and all. Sometimes the reality we can't, so let them know what exactly is going on. So that is the reality. So coming back to the issue here, if I sum up, most of the organization have to cut down, like, you can say, uh, they have to deal with three key issue. I will say, see, this US agency, CIA, am I right? The Ukraine war. So I'm not talking something about that, but yeah, that is adding more worries to us in the present context. So most of the organizations, these are three big disease, and every organization has to, and they will remain same. So most of the organization will do it tomorrow, is gone. No, you are in a crisis. You have to do it today. So no more C is for complacency. So no more for being complacent. Am I right? So no more being complacent. You understand? We'll do it today. The second most important thing you have to, like, say, with organizational learning and all, and new knowledge emerging and cloud computing you're talking about, or otherwise other stuff emerging. So in that case, it becomes very important to educate your workforce, and training and development has become the most important thing, because you're going more reliant on technology in that case. So no more you can be ignorant. So ignorance is the big disease, am I right? Like complacency we talk about is the bigger virus than, like, the other viruses we are talking about. So if you are a complacent, you are gone. Most of the company they are gone. Look, like, Nokia used to be the top company in terms of smartphone, mobile phone, not a smartphone. When Samsung came and Apple, where are they? They don't exist, because they were complacent. They thought we are the best, all right? So they didn't go into that platform and all, developing mobile technology, smart technology. They don't exist. We talk about many companies. Ignorance, this is the key issue. So like Peterson, they talk about learning organization. So how good you are in terms of knowledge management, in terms of dealing with and educating your workforce and updating right kind of knowledge, you have to be able to. So ignorance is the second big disease for organization, or for manager as well. And the last one is that I'm the best. So it is organizational perspective, managerial perspective, or as an individual or life. There is no room for arrogance. Believe me. If you are arrogant, you can't conduct yourself. Am I right? Many of the the top management company, if you see 80s like HP and all, they used to think, yeah, nobody compete or productivity and performance. But where we are, those companies have gone out of window. When Canon came and the HP and all, they've given the Xerox, they have to run away. Right. So we have seen those arrogance either from individual perspective, which is very bad, and especially when you are ignorant and ignorant. This is a huge cocktail and very toxic cocktail, right? As an individual level manager, also you don't know. Sometimes people don't know that he doesn't know that he doesn't know. This is the big problem. If you know you are stupid, fine enough. You can ask, you can go to some knowledgeable man. But sometimes you think, yeah, I know everything. So that is the big, you can say, combination or toxic situation, right? Anyway, so these are complacency, ignorance, and arrogance. This is the CIS syndrome. I call it CIS syndrome. You have to be careful. This syndrome, this virus, for individual managers, for HR managers, for organization as a whole, or as a human being in our life. Very important to be complacent, to do as a human being, all right? Last line, I'm just done with my lecture and then open to questions. Based of Gibson, somewhere I noted, winner will be those who can transform their organization. So who can shift direction quickly and all. Adaptability is the key issue in an uncertain territory right now and business environment. That has been. So this is very, very key. So those organizations, so you're as a HR managing people, you don't think things are going to be, it is going to be a bumpy ride and you have to be ready for that. So your mindset should be, then you can deal with. And then again, we talk about those attributes, CIA. So there has been huge write up on how to sustain, how to do everything. But here I just, without going more into detail, I try to make it more generic, and I'm looking forward to discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody has question? Please put forward. Yes, anybody? Sir, I have one question. Uh,
Yeah,
from last 2 years, the students are taking online lectures and also online exams, and they are getting much more marks. So how will be challenging for HR means in the terms
yeah.
of productivity?
That's exactly right. Wonderful
Yeah,
question. That exactly is the worry because I am there into many committees and all, and I am a very harsh teacher. I am rated I was teaching at Sri Ram Center there, and then I was teaching at ILM and Jamia Millia also. I taught 4 5 years visiting. I used to be a very tough teacher. So when I Lodi Road, Delhi, I used to teach. If any student come, I was young then, 21 years back.
yeah,
So that was my initial when I completed my PhD from BHU, and after 4 years I joined there, working at Sri Ram Center. Then I came to I was poached by ILM, they were paying twice of the Delhi University salary at that time. So we were more tempted to work. But anyway, what was happening? What exactly? So what I used to be a very tough teacher. Why exactly I'm saying? Tough means anybody late and 10. So you have to close. I used to close the door. And even Jamia, I used to teach my MBA program part time. Everybody used to love me. So I was very, you can say, a tough teacher, but at the same time, I used to be very concerned for them. So it was very true that I want to educate them and share my knowledge. Never, I'm not a teacher. I just share my knowledge. I never use the loaded word. I don't know. I'm just learning here with you. So not a teacher, you can say. Nobody is teacher. He is a teacher, and he's given great people there. So I rate myself below 6 5 or something. I don't know. I have seen many great teachers. So that's why the teacher one is I kept for Allah and Almighty, and then He sent people, those nabis, prophets, and all. They were nine, and 7 8 I gave. I have seen very wonderful teacher. I have spent a lot of quality time with the father of HRD in India, Ishwar Dayal. The founding director of I'm Lucknow, and we were working next door, and I have seen his. He was so humble and all, and my beginning years or working with B.R. Sharma, father of motivation, his book Not by Bread Alone. I was working with him and I've seen these great people, right? But anyway, so what exactly I'm saying, that's a saying, uh, There is no room for arrogance, humility. I'm right as a teacher. But at the same time, like coming to back to your question, like a toughness or say, you have to give message. So I used to give message that this kind of behavior is not allowed. If somebody is coming late in your class and you don't say, you say, yeah. Like earlier, I used to say 10 minutes, I saw you Lodi Road, I used to close the door, I say, yeah. Anybody knocks, I say, yeah, you're welcome next class. So, like, I used to have that kind of approach. And it works for me. I was very honest with them and to myself that what I'm doing. So, here the messaging has to be done in that case. But overall, if you talk, that is happening, that is true, because the organizational level, if every teachers, because sometimes we also think like, what is going, giving me cushion, some more time, family time, here, we'll do it. So, it is all about, it is not one way street. So if you are concerned, like sometimes I teach both way. Say for example, my online class, they know Dr. Sami is doubly sure. He will put some load here more into. So just last semester I was teaching PhD program online, and they were really, because every classes alternate like week. I was 5 papers I was giving them to review and present different group. There was 10 people in my class, and 5 papers, research paper, you can see quality paper means 100 pages you have to read and come back. So it is all about how you deal as an individual, and then organizational level, your department and all. So it is all about you can create, but overall, I fully agree with you. In generic, the government or say the university administration or the colleges, they don't want any kind of, you can say, hurdle, any kind of obstruction or any kind of, in Indian sense, we say the headache. We don't want them, right? So let it be smooth. We are already going through so many tough times. So let us this time to go through, take it easy. Understand? So that kind of approach. So that exactly is somewhere, because it is long now, somewhere. So now we are like putting that they have to come back to the classes and all. And inflated score is never a good thing, believe me, because that then you rule, then you lose your credibility and reliability. So the loser are a student themselves and educational institution themselves. So they have to realize, you understand? Because if they are getting inflated grades, they may be happy, yeah, I got this. But if it is not proper evaluation, like I say, so you don't know if a guy who deserves C or D or B, or you give him A or A plus, you are killing him as a teacher, because he will live in a kind of thinking that I deserve, I am an A plus. Am I right? So this is I as a teacher feel like, I'm very concerned. I try to be, but sometimes, yeah, this is happening because the kind of question we are asked, MCQ and other. Sometimes you don't have a choice, and sometimes what others are doing, you are pressurized to do that, like it was happening with me as well. So you can't go overboard. Like I'm just saying, PhD I was able to do, but I can't do too many cases and too many participation marks through other, like essay type questions. It was not possible because you are not watching. Many classes I told the student to open the camera. I used to be very strict, open the, but later I see the student, like they are too many requests they are bringing, sir, nobody's asking Dr. Sami. And sometimes we don't have the support, and we are sometime in a very shabby conditions, and I say, okay, you can get, you can see here so many people participating and nobody is here. So you want to avoid them, right? So like there, because your alertness, your body language, your eye contact become very important. So at least you can exert less of energy doing that. So this is the reality. So you have to give message somewhere. That's what I'm saying. So it is all from the top, but the message flow from the top. You understand? You can make your world smaller. You can sleep at night as a teacher that I am, like I say, no late coming is allowed, nothing. You give the message so that the people see, yeah, I can't negotiate this teacher. And but you have to face so many hardship to be ready for that. So if you put higher pedestal of moral pedestal, then you, but the most important thing is the institution as well. They have to create and give message. And of course, sometimes as a stakeholder, as a teacher, we also want goody goody, right? To be, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And especially those institutions where the students are grading their teachers, giving the feedback. Private institution, MBA in India. You understand? Even in US, like where they grade the teachers and all those websites. Anyway, thank you. I hope you can you. Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
getting your voice.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for wonderful lecture, sir. Now I ask Seema Patel to propose vote of thanks.
Okay.
Thank
Good afternoon, one and all. I, Professor Seema Patil, on behalf of Shantarambhau Gholap Arts Science and Gotirambhau Pawar Commerce College, Shivli, extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Sami Khan, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this will surely be going to encourage us in our future events. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
thank
Okay, sir, you shall leave the session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you. So it is done.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can
Okay.
leave.
Thank you everyone for
Yeah.
patiently listening to me and giving me an opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Vandana and Dr. Seema.
Thank you, sir.
So nice of you, and looking forward to further collaborate. If I
Yes,
can
sir.
help any
Yes.
question, you're most welcome later as well, and we can
Thank you, sir.
continue
Thank you, sir.
another time. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for
So I'm
joining,
just,
sir. Yes.
yeah, take care. Best of luck.
Thank you. So moving towards next session, we will have the paper presentation of second part. So there are almost 10 participants and we have only half an hour. So I would like to divide into two. So I will give one link where the mentioned participant can join that link. I think in the first session also 2, 3 are remaining. Varma sir, are you there? Varma sir,
Yes, madam. Four
how many were
participants.
remaining? कितने
Four,
remain थे?
four.
4 पार्टिसिपेंट ओके।
Yes.
तो 44 पार्टिसिपेंट के साथ आप कंटिन्यू करो। मैं एक लिंक देती हूँ चैट बॉक्स में, आप लोग देखिए चैट
जी.
बॉक्स में वो लिंक प्रोवाइड की गई है, उसे ज्वाइन कीजिए और अपना पेपर प्रेजेंट कीजिए। ओके।
Okay. Okay, madam.
Vandana madam,
सर
am I
ओनली
audible?
2 मिनट्स, ओनली 2 मिनट्स सर, ओनली 2 मिनट्स। सीमा मैडम आर यू देयर?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
वो जो लिंक मैंने दी है आपको, वो ज्वाइन कीजिए और ये बाकी के जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स मैंने चैट बॉक्स में डाले हैं उनको प्लीज़ ज्वाइन करने के लिए बोलिए। आपका लिंक और वहाँ पे पेपर प्रेजेंट करने के लिए कहिए।
Okay, okay, ma'am.
हाँ, प्लीज़
Yes.
पार्टिसिपेंट जिनका नाम यहाँ पे दिख रहा है, दोस्त हु हैव बीन इन द चैट बॉक्स, प्लीज़ ज्वाइन दिस लिंक फॉर पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन सो दैट वी कैन कंप्लीट ऑन टाइम। रेशमा,
एक मिनट
लिजी जॉर्ज, कुंदन झा, सरिता मिश्रा, अनीता चौहान, लवीना भाटीजा, पीके डोमाल sir, and J. Avisha
कॉल
madam.
मेसेज
You see here, link
कॉल
is
मेसेज पप्पा ही बघा हीच आहे लिंक मी ओपन केलेलं ना इन कॉल मेसेजेस तिथं म्हणजे इकडे जायचं
इसकी लिंक है.
हीच आहे
okay. So please, बिराजा सर आप कंटिन्यू करें। आपका सतपाल सर जी को पहले दीजिए और फिर उसके बाद उनको चाहिए। So please, we will start with the next session, that is paper presentation. One session will be taken by Biraza sir and the other will be taken by वर्मा सर। वर्मा सर आप भी वो लिंक में ज्वाइन हो जाइए सीमा मैडम के साथ में।
Hello, and now I'm audible. Okay. Good evening to one and all. Myself, Dr. S.M. Berazdar. Now we are moving forward to the paper presentation. I would request to all participate be ready as per the list provided in advance. So I like to call Dr. D.M. Sakpal sir to please present his paper. Dr. Sakpal sir. Sakpal sir is ready.
Hello,
Sakpal sir.
because I think suppressor is not there. Please go with the next
Sakpal
present.
sir. Yes, yes. Now coming, now coming. Just as. Sakpal sir. शायद उनका माइक म्यूट है सकपा सर आपका माइक म्यूट है सकपाल सर एक बार सर प्लीज लेफ्ट होके फिर एक बार ज्वाइन कीजिए सर
Hello.
यस सर
Yes.
यस सर आपका वॉइस आ रहा है सर
Yes, sir.
यस सर
Download.
मग हे करा ना, मागं जाऊन मेल मध्ये जा. इथं जा मेल मध्ये.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
यस सर यस सर
Yes. Sir.
थोड़ा सा ब्रॉड कीजिए यस सर
Now my title of the paper: Structural Properties of the Synthesized Metal Oxide Polypyrrole Nanocomposites. Myself, Dr. D.M. Sapka, Department of Physics, SICS Degree College, Ambernath. The abstract of the paper, that is, we know the lot of scientific research conducting in polymer composites because of their excellent potential applications among these polypyrrole and its composites. They have attracted considerable attraction and easily synthesized by combining polypyrrole with organic and inorganic materials to form the composites. The mechanical strength, chemical stability, and gas sensing properties also studied by using these composites. The composite of the various combinations of the ratios of the pyrrole to FeCl3 with the Fe3O4 nanoparticles were prepared in the powder form. The sample preparation involves the distillation of a pyrrole with varying ratios of the pyrrole to the FeCl3. The time duration of the 12 to 4 hours. The key features of our study is the distillation of the pyrrole. We have designed the portable distillation setup which have the 100% the wastage of the water. The Fe3O4 nanoparticles are blended into the solution that is then processed in the centripetal pump. The composite particles from the solution. The powder is the furnace dried and the composite is the again used in the experiment. The dried powder sample is analyzed through the XRD for the estimation of the particle size. The another spectroscopic measurements like the UV visible FTIR are also studied, and the potential applications are also studied by using these composites. The keywords, that is the metal oxide, chemical polarization method, ferrite nanoparticles, XRD and FTIR. Now, this is the introduction of the given in the paper. The conducting polymer composites have generated in the scientific interest and led to the active multidisciplinary because of their excellent potential for the technological applications. Among the conducting polymer, polypyrrole, its composites have considerable attention because relatively good environmental, they are easily synthesis and surface charge characteristics that can be easily modified by changing the dopant in it. It has been demonstrated that there are many applications in the enhancement of the strength, chemical stability, and the gas sensing properties by combining the polypyrrole with the organic and inorganic material composites. Various composites of the conducting polymer such as the polypyrrole with the inorganic oxide particle have been recent years, and based on these composites, sensors have also been developed by several research groups. Now this is the synthesis part of the metal oxide composites. In the synthesis and analysis of the composite, we have studied the composite of the various combinations of the ratios of the pyrrole to the FeCl. With the Fe3O4, the nanoparticles of the Fe3O4s are prepared. The composite is thus prepared in the form of powder. And the powder of the composite is used for the chemical polymerization, using the chemical polymerization method. The sample preparation starts from the distillation of the pyrrole, combination of the pyrrole to the FeCl3 are stirred overnight. Also, the Fe3O4 nanoparticles are used for the purpose of the blended material. The solution is then processed in a centrifugal machine and filtered to the separate, and we get in the powder form. The powder is dried in the furnace at a high temperature. Also, the composite is for the sufficient time. The dried powder sample is analyzed using the XRD and FTIR. The figure shows the XRD of the optimized sample with a different, we have observed in the figure 1, the different peaks are obtained at a certain 2 theta angle. That is, the first peak is observed at the 30.034 degree. Second highest peak having a highest intensity is observed at the 35.410 degree, and the third peak 43.038 degree, and the fourth 53.379 degree, and the last peak is observed at the 56.911 degree, are similar that with obtained for the pure Fe3O4 nanoparticles, which confirm the presence of the Fe34O4 particles in this composite. The FTIR spectra of the polyphenol and the Fe3O4 polyphenol composite is also shown in the figure. The polyphenol Fe3O4 composite were prepared with the chemical polymerization method, and the properties of this material were influenced by the concentration of the FeCl3 solution, as well as which are used to disperse the Fe3O4 nanoparticles. I think this is the conclusion of this my paper. Clear? And this end of this paper. Clear? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Sakpal sir as a chairperson for rest of the session. Sir, I would request to Sakpal sir, if you want to give further instruction to the participant, please go ahead, sir. Over to Sakpal sir.
Yes, sir.
If you want to give further any instruction for participants, sir.
Sir, how many participants are there now?
Sir, four, sir, four.
Four now, only four. Now, I think the time for presentation is
5 minutes.
4 to
sir.
5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
4 plus 5.
4 to 5 minutes. Yes, they can follow it strictly.
Yes.
Clear? Yes. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Please participate. Complete the paper at a given time limit. For the instruction, today's chairperson, Dr. Sakpa sir. So, participate Dr. Niranjana Niranjarat Chandani for Kinavali College. Dr. Niranjarat, ma'am.
Niranjana madam. Yes, ma'am. I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, 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 ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, one and all. Today I'm presenting the paper Synergistic Combination of Novel Resin with Conventional Active Material in Detergent Formulation. Now, all of you know that it is a global days, and now everywhere there is a eco-friendly product. Therefore, my research work, we tried to prepare such a eco-friendly novel polymeric surfactant. Now, sorbitol and malic anhydride, which are taken as a novel resin preparations. Now, in various industrial products, we know that there is a, labs alpha resin sulfonate and sodium lauryl sulfate are used as a active material. But in research work, I prepared the sorbitol, malic anhydride, benzoic acid, and sodium bisulfite and sodium bisulfide as a catalyst and prepared the novel polymeric surfactant. Now, in this surfactant, they incorporated into the detergent and they are following the performance it will be observed. For example, calcium and magnesium securizations, clay coil dispersal, calcium carbonate inhibition, and prevention of the soil reposition and fabric anti-instructions. Now, in this experiment, we observe that there are the one novel polymeric surfactant prepared by using all these ingredients. Now required one of the reactor, and they containing the two parts. Now one part, the lower part, it is a round bottom shape, and we take all the material, and there is a lid. Now lid containing the four necks. That is a standard apparatus. By using this, we can prepare this novel polymer. Now composition of this novel polymer, which is totally based on sorbitol. Now we prepared the two type of the batch. Now in first batch we take nearly 98% sorbitol. It is purely vegetable based, and another one we have to add small quantity of the malic anhydride. Now, by using these two compositions, we compare all the physico-chemical properties, and on the basis of the physico-chemical properties, we incorporate this novel resin in the surfactant on the basis of the HLB ratio. Now, if the HLB ratio is less than 15.100, then it will be incorporated in emulsifying agent, and if it is 15, then it is best to go to the surfactant. Now, this is the properties which have to be studied in this work, that is the solubility in water and alcohol, percentage solid, acid value, saponification value, HLV ratio, pH, color, and molecular weight and viscosity in ethyl alcohol as by the viscometer. Now, after that, we prepared the compositions by varying the different active material, that is which are conventionally used. For example, alpha olefin sulfonate I introduce here. Now another one is the linear alkene benzene sulfonate is also one of the conventional material, and another one is the sodium lauryl sulfate. Now, by varying the composition of alpha olefin sulfonate by using the another fillers and binders, for example, sodium carbonate, sodium sulfate, sodium tripolene, STPP, and dolomite, and neutralized resin, those which are prepared in this experiment, and that is purely vegetable base. And we have to find out the moisture content also. After that, sorry, we analyze that powder detergent by different physicochemical property like the density, surface tension, pH, fomite, and reduction in surface tension. We observe that whatever the commercial product which are available in the market, and they all these property which is nearly or sometimes it is more excellent by this novel resin. For example, density of all these prepared powder detergent we have observed here, and commercial sample is nearly same, and we have to take the two commercial sample comparing with the prepared powder detergent. Now these are the surface tension, it is quite similar to that in some powder detergent, some powder detergent is too far. Now pH is also nearly equivalent to that, fomite is also, and percentage reduction of that. Then on the basis of that, we can say that the carbohydrate polymer have become the very important because of the demand of the biodegradable polymer. The major ingredient of this polymer is sorbitol and malic anhydride. Naturally, sorbitol is more percentage and malic anhydride is less amount. Therefore, the whatever the product is nearly the eco-friendly product because it is totally the vegetable base. Now, the heating schedule of this is 5 hours and 30 minutes. Now, by analyzing this novel polymer, we have already shown in the table, we observe that the composition have come up after doing a several polymers to develop the product with the good viscosity, mole ratio, and the molecular weight. The HLB value of the product indicates its utility as an ingredient in powder and the liquid detergent, and this selected polymer give the excellent performance properties. The composition of the powder detergent are given in this table. We observe that the polymer have been used in this powder detergent composition is in the ratio of 10 to 13%, and alpha olefin sulfonate varying from 1 to 15%. In combination of both these, uh, give the excellent result, and it is compared to the commercial powder detergent. Now the samples have been moderate foaming characteristic as compared to the commercial sample. The surface tension data indicate the significant lowering of reduction in surface tension and by this novel resin and comparable to the commercial sample. The special feature of this formulation are free from petroleum based active and use very small proportion of STPP. Now conclusion. Novel resin-based polymer and malic anhydride can be prepared by using the benzoic acid, sodium bisulfate, sodium bisulfite. Benzoic acid used as an accelerator. The acid value is quite high, and novel polymer HLB ratio and molecular weight suggest utilization in liquid and the powder formulation. By incorporation of the novel resin alpha olefin sulfonate, now we take the synergistic combination between two. Now we take another combination also novel resin and sodium lauryl sulfate, and third one is the novel resin and the linear alkyl benzene sulfonate. We all compositions we try to take the conventional material is minimum amount and novel resin is maximum amount and shows the best result as in surface tension and percentage detergency as compared to the commercial sample. Now, the various samples of powder detergent can be determined, and the various cloth, namely cotton, polyester, and terracotta, which are spotted as a soil, tea, and coffee stain cloth, give a very good detergency with this polymer and alpha olivine sulfonate. An eco-friendly polymer based on vegetable renewable resources like the sorbitol can be prepared without much difficulty by selecting the proper ratio, temperature, and catalyst. The equation is safe, simple to operate, and can work at considerable lower temperature. Now, all the raw material are of vegetable in origin, hence we claim that formulation of the detergent are eco-friendly as compared to the commercial one, which still use the higher proportion of linear alkyl benzene sulfonate. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Any question or participate? Okay. So next, second participate, Preeti ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, sir. Am
Please
I audible?
continue. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, you audible, madam.
Yes,
So
I'm
please start.
sharing the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, is the screen visible?
No, ma'am. No.
No?
No, madam.
Okay. Try again. It is not allowing me to share.
Madam, how you share?
There is an arrow mark over there, present now. Present your entire screen, a window, a
Yes,
tab.
yes. Present your entire screen.
Yeah. I don't know why it is not allowing me.
You share from the computer screen.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
the
Yes.
madam.
screen? Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes. Yes.
it is visible.
Yeah. I'll go for the full screen mode. Honorable management of Shivray College, respected principal of Shivray College, all the faculty members, the organizers of this conference, good evening to one and all. The title of my paper is Digital Divide in India, a challenge in achieving excellence in higher education. The democratic nature of Indian society is based on an egalitarian model. The preamble of the Constitution of India talks about equality of status and opportunity and to promote amongst them all. In the words of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, democracy only provides that all men should have equal opportunities for development of their unequal talents. Hence, in the current era of digital education and digital learning, bringing in digital equality is of utmost importance. The benefits of higher education and online learning should reach also to the marginalized sections of the society. Why only the richer section of the society should reap the advantages of the digital education and digital learning? Something should be done for the marginalized community students also. This is a challenge and a great daunting task before the government as well as before the bureaucracy to bring equality in matters of access to the resources of digital learning like smartphones, laptops, and internet, along with the required training to use these resources. The current paper focuses on the study of gaps in digital education. An attempt is made to analyze the measures taken by the government in minimizing the digital divide and maximizing the scope of digital education. The main objective of the study is to find out effective solutions. Yes, we require solutions related to the problem of digital divide in higher education in India. This paper also provides an overview of Chapter 24 of the New Education Policy 1920, the 86th Constitutional Amendment related to Article 21, Clause A, wherein the right to education was declared as a fundamental right, and the recent Supreme Court judgments on digital divide in the field of education. To make higher education more effective and knowledge based in this current age of information, what we need are the solid mechanisms to narrow down the digital divide. There is an urgent need to make access of technology and internet a fundamental right of the learners in our nation. Globally, when it comes to higher education, India ranks third in the world after America and China. That's why the Indian government has more responsibility in the field of digital education and needs to take care of the growing divide, the digital divide. So the Indian government needs to provide higher education, which is par excellence to its students for maintaining the educational standards and setting up higher level benchmark in the field of teaching, learning, and evaluation. In the current age of information, it was mandatory for the government to introduce digital education as a method of study in India because the current era is the era of globalization and everything is going digital. So that's why the government of India uh, was more concerned about starting digital education in the nation. So the question arises, what is digital education? Any technique which involves technology and digital devices in the method of learning is known as digital education. Nowadays, all of us are using this technique. It was believed that digital education is the future of the Indian education system. There are many advantages of digital education for the students. The students can have personalized learning. The students can they can get themselves acquainted with digital technologies and tools. They can have deeper involvement with the teachers as well as with the parents. The flipped classroom learning model, the learning pedagogies of the online structure. There are better engagement rate of the students. It makes the students more accountable, and a lot of advantages are there of digital education. However, the advantages are concentrated only for the few students who are well off in their life. So this paper focuses more on the opportunities which the government will provide to the marginalized students because they are not getting the fruits of digital education and it is not their fault. Anyways, the new education policy. The new education policy in its chapter 24, it talks about online and digital education, ensuring equitable use of technology. The vision of a new system of education in India was envisaged by the new education policy, which was launched on 29 July 2020. It was based on five pillars: affordability, accessibility, quality, equity, and accountability, which will ensure continual learning. It aims to provide quality education and create lifelong learning opportunities for all. The word is all, not for just a few limited privileged students. So it aims to provide learning opportunities for all, leading to full and productive employment as enlisted in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. Then it recognizes the importance of leveraging the advantage of technology. It knows that when we use technology, at that time are bound to provide quality services. So when technology is used in education, naturally quality education will be provided. But the question is the benefit, the advantage is reaped only by fewer students who have access to digital resources. Here we are concerned about those students who do not have access to the resources. NEP also acknowledges potential risks and dangers in online education. because it says, it talks about, there are certain features in NAP's chapter 24 which says that we cannot give up the face to face communication with our students. It recognizes offline learning also, but it knows that when offline learning is combined with online learning, naturally quality educational services could be provided to the students right from the primary level to the secondary to the level of the higher education. NAP calls for carefully designed and appropriately scaled pilot studies to determine how the benefits of online or digital education can be reaped while addressing or mitigating the downside. So it says that we need to do something related to the growing digital divide. Some measures should be taken so that the educational system, the current educational system, becomes more equitable and it does not keeps the marginalized students away from the fruits of digital education. So when we evaluate the national education policy of the government with reference to digital education, we find that it has two sides, one positive, another negative. Every policy of the government has its own pros and cons. So the same is with the new educational policy. There are certain positive aspects of NEP as it gives the students more flexibility to choose their subjects from science, commerce, and humanities. A student who is studying in science also has the choice to study a subject from commerce or humanities. Moreover, NEP brings a revolutionary change in the attitude towards vocational courses. The students can do internship in any vocational course of their choice from the school level. So there are some advantages of the new educational policy. It is very theoretical policy because it fails to consider the realistic aspect of teaching learning scenario in a nation like India, wherein there are many schools in rural India with no teachers or students, or many times no proper infrastructure is provided. The early dropout rate of the schools and colleges is also not considered over here. So one of the most serious drawback of NEP is that it focuses more on blended learning, flipped classroom, and ICT enabled teaching learning mechanisms. A maximum chunk of students in India are from vernacular, medium, and rural background where there are problems like net connectivity, no money to buy any Android mobile phones or any PC or laptop. Who will provide them these things? The government should do something. There is definitely a gap in this digital education. It creates a great digital divide. This makes the rural students, as well as the urban students with low economic status, to remain aloof from the advantages of online learning. Most of us, we had the experience when our students, they say कि madam एकच phone आहे घरी काय करणार, lecture attend नाही करतात. So that's why we know, we have the realistic experience how the students, they had faced the pandemic situation and they are facing also currently the pandemic situation. So the new economic, the new policy, the new educational policy with reference to digital education, it goes for digital drive. Yes, of course, this is a positive thing, but uh, it also creates more digital divide, and it does not provide us with any mechanisms to fill in the gaps which are there in this era of pandemic, which is related to the growing digital divide in the nation. So corona, the pandemic in India, it gave more emphasis on online teaching, learning, and evaluation. But along with this, it created the concept of a digital divide. This is not the new concept for India, because in India there was digital divide. There was a gap between the rich and the poor students before the pandemic also. But after the pandemic, the situation has worsened a lot because online education is can be preferred only by those students who have such a kind of purchasing power to bring or buy those digital resources and use them to enhance their knowledge and skills. So there are certain existing online education digital platforms in India. There are existing digital courses in India like Swayam, then Upgrade, and then Acadlead, and there are many such digital courses. But do the marginalized community students, do they have access to all the digital, all this digital courses? So we need to find a solution to the problem of digital divide. The digital divide, when it comes for defining what is exactly the digital divide. So, the term digital divide was coined by Lloyd Morissette to mean a discrepancy in access to technology, resources between socio-economic groups. Generally, the term digital divide is defined as inequality of access to information technology, the difference in opportunities available to people who have access to modern information technology and those who do not have. So, according to Thorson, the digital divide is a popular term for the cultural barrier that of the people who do not have access to technology and they do not have the ability to use them. Who will teach them how to use laptop and how to use the Google Classroom or how to use Microsoft Teams and how to use the Zoom platform? They do not know how to create their Gmail ID also. So anyways, digital divide is the current issue related to higher education, and not only to higher education, it pertains to the entire educational sector. So India's digital divide, the source of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India is given over here. A statistic is provided. The rural population 66%, internet density you can see is 25.3%, urban population 34%, and you can see the internet density. Herein you see the rural and the urban digital divide related to the use of internet. So the use of technology for online and digital education adequately addresses concerns of equity. There should be equal distribution of digital resources. Here I had given the example of Zilla Parishad in Pune district of Maharashtra. It donated small or old smartphones, laptops to poor families. So this is an example. In many colleges, there may be many teachers who had given money to the poor students so that they can buy smartphones or they can use the digital resources. According to Pune Zilla Parishad, while it plans to commence online classes for about 14,000 students enrolled in its 3,600 primary and secondary schools, its surveys have found that about 50% of families in rural areas don't even have a smartphone. So this is a cause of concern for our nation. When we are going for digital education on a large scale, we should not overlook the problems faced by the marginalized community students. So problems faced by students in the digital divide, a sudden shift to online education created panic, and the students from the marginalized section of the societies went through the worst phase of their life, as on one hand they had to deal either with the loss of their parents and relatives or with the problem of forced migration to their villages from urban areas due to loss of jobs of their parents. We cannot imagine the situation faced by the students in the corona pandemic, and the students how they came out of the situation, especially the students who belonged to the economically weaker sections of the society. They did not have the financial support to buy smartphones, laptop, or have internet access. Many students were also not aware of online learning platforms like Zoom, Microsoft. This I had already discussed. Apart from this, in many families with more than one child, one smartphone was shared by all, due to which the studies of one or the other child was sacrificed. Then, what is the use of this digital education? There was a huge communication gap between the students and the teachers, and this worsened more when fewer students had access to the means of digital education. Thus, digital divide was created. It is there, and there is a gap, when the gap is increasing between the learners who are from well-to-do families and the learners who are from the economically weaker strata of the society. And interestingly, in one of the cases which came forward in the Supreme Court, there was a judicial intervention, judicial activism related to digital divide and the right to education. A three-judge bench of justices, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, Vikram Nath, and V.V. Nagaratna, they noted in an order of Delhi High Court in a petition filed by private school management in September 2020 that private schools should provide their 25% quota. That is, they should provide the online facilities to those students of marginalized community who have their admission in those private schools, and this facility should be provided free of cost. This judgment of the Supreme Court made it clear that educational institutes should be the facilitators for online learning resources at the level and should be instrumental in bridging the digital divide. The Right
Ma'am,
to
excuse me,
Education Act
time
was
is over, ma'am.
in this case, the digital divide caused by online classes will defeat the fundamental right of every poor child to study in mainstream schools. So, this is the last slide. There are certain mechanisms, there are certain measures to be taken to solve the problem of digital divide. The institutes of higher education, the e-governance mechanism, the industry, as well as the rural community, they have the onus of taking care of this digital divide and to see to it that the gap is minimized. So, thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So next participate, Kriti Savli is available.
Myself, Preeti Savle, I had just
Sorry,
presented.
Lakshita Soni, ma'am. Okay, Dr. Uttam Ambore, sir. Okay, ma'am, Sima ma'am is here.
Hello,
Ah,
I'm Lakshita Soni.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm there. Just a second. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yes, ma'am. लक्षिता मैम प्लीज शॉर्ट में थोड़ा सा बताए तो चलेगा.
जी जी.
ओके ओके.
Screen visible है sir?
यस मैम, यस यस.
Just a minute. Okay, so good evening and everyone, and thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to present my research article. My research paper is based on the study which I had carried out on sustainable growth of MSMEs in India with reference to digital initiatives and other sustainable goals. So, uh, considering considering the economic downturn, let me give you a brief this thing background of the paper. Considering the downturn that our economy has gone because of pandemic and other various situations, MSc is sector is seen as one of the most reliable sector. So the objectives that I've taken is to understand the concept of sustainable development goals, to study them and to correlate how these goals can be achieved through our MSME sectors. We all know how MSME sector is providing by and large towards the economy. The MSME sector is providing approximately 11.10 million jobs, and from which major portion is from the manufacturing sector, then trade and other various other sectors contributing so far. And we all know that country is targeting 5 trillion economy by 2025, and MSME sector is looked upon at large scale. So at overall global scenario, if we see that these micro, small, medium enterprises are considered to be places of business and innovations. So the methodology that I've taken is both primary data is collected as well as secondary data has been referred, and the research is more or less descriptive in nature. For primary data, I have taken around 30 MSMEs into consideration, and data was collected. And the majority, the study was focused on that whether MSMEs will be a major contributor to SDCs or not. So these are the 17 sustainable development goals that I have tried to correlate with the performance of MSMEs at present and in last 5 years. I am not going in detail and explaining each and every goal, but it is presented in pictorial form, and the data is collected from UN website. So the attempt was made to correlate between the initiatives and targets. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Yes,
madam,
ma'am.
audible.
Thank you, thank you. So the study was initiated in a direction that the schemes which are introduced by government to boost this sector, whether these schemes are in line with the sustainable development goals or not. So are we catering to those goals? If the answer is yes, then what will happen? In future we can think of how these goals will help us to increase the overall GDP and to minimize the gap which is existing between the poor section and the richer section. So yeah, with the first scheme, which is the most popular scheme, which is relied upon, Prime Minister Employment Generation Scheme, these are the various goals which are catered, like it caters to the poverty alleviation, gender equality, and decent work and economic growth. So I have given the number as it is given by UN. Then the second scheme is they have definitely tried to revive the sector, to keep up the rural employment and to keep up the rural traditions. So coir industry technology upgradation scheme is the most running scheme of the government, and these are the various goals that are catered. That is goal number 9, wherein they are trying to upgrade the industry through industry innovation and infrastructure. We are able to reach out to affordable and clean energy, responsible consumption and production, because we are going organic, and partnership for goals, wherein partnership is between the government, the society, and the world economy. The next scheme is almost on the same lines, and hence same goals we are able to fulfill. So going ahead with the scheme, we all understand, we have all seen many times, there are various problems that MSMEs are facing, and one major problem that MSMEs face is credit crunch. They have limited access to finance and credit facilities, though there are market players who are ready to offer them financial help, but there are certainly many hurdles the MSMEs are still facing. So, what are the goals that we are catering through this scheme is poverty alleviation, industry innovation, and decent work and economic growth. Likewise, going in the lines, is the next scheme is export market promotion and NMCP. So these are the goals which are achieved between the initiatives which are taken under this scheme. Financial support to MSMEs in Z certification scheme. So zero zones and the initiatives taken and various schemes which are started in those zones. So these are the goals which are achieved, and likewise I have tried to correlate the schemes which are introduced for skill upgradation, that is for upgrading the entrepreneurs. Various workshops, various trainings are organized, so that will definitely reduce inequalities, because women entrepreneurs are also given a boost through these skill upgradation schemes. And then quality education. So summarizing the comparison, these are the goals which we are able to achieve through these schemes, but there is certainly a gap. And if the gap is identified well, definitely the schemes which are introduced by MSMEs will lead to a conclusive result. So what I have done, as I said, that I have taken primary data, and one way ANOVA test was applied on MS Excel. And since my F value is less than F critics, so it shows there is no difference in the awareness level for, I mean, the awareness level of entrepreneurs is very, very less for SDCs as well as for government schemes. So definitely, in both the areas, the awareness is to be increased, and once it is increased, this is going to lead to a big way, and MSMEs will be a major contributors. So overall, what is required is creating a ecosystem both at digital level and overall, so that we are able to address the problems and encourage the growth of MSMEs. There are few suggestions which are highlighted through the presentation, that awareness campaigns are required, so as to promote entrepreneurship, to promote women entrepreneurship, and most important is reducing the gap between the registered and unregistered MSME. So we have to formalize the structure. Once the structure is formalized, the reporting will be formalized, and the objectives with which we are trying to cater to the nation, that will become formalized. So financial education is required, and there are certain factors that I have listed, like change in the mindset and beliefs of small business owners. They have to overcome the problems that they are facing for digital, for the digital transformation. So training will play a big role here. Then easy to use features by social media platforms, and providing various other initiatives for them to prosper. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now
I
I would
want
like to invite a vote of thanks, Professor Seema Patil, ma'am. Over to Patil, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event to all the dignitaries assembled here. I would like to thank the chairperson of this session, Dr. D.M. Sapkal sir. I would also like to thank all the participants in this session who spared their valuable time. Once again, I thank one and all who were present here. Thank you so much. Over to you, Singh ma'am.
Okay, it was a nice presentation. Good evening to one and all on the onset of one-day multidisciplinary international conference on transforming, redefining, and innovation for the excellence of higher education. I welcome once again in the last session of this conference. I would like to review the conference so far. The program was inaugurated in the morning in the presence of JSM Chairman Shri Gotirambhau Pawar, JSM Secretary B.R. Harat sir, Principal Dr. S.M. Patil sir, Vice Principal Dr. G.R. Vishwa madam. About the conference, it was delivered by the Shri Aniket Marathi sir, and the keynote speaker were Shri Siddharth Rajahans, a policy officer from United Nations, New York. He has given wonderful insights. All we know that the journey of his knowledge was remarkable and achievements were marvelous. Second session was carried by Dr. Piali Ghosh. She has given the importance of education with right attitude and also expressed her ideas by giving some good examples. After that, we have arranged two paper presentation sessions simultaneously, and around 20 papers were present. After lunch, we have the session of Dr. Sami Khan. He was from Saudi Arabia. He has also given a wonderful lecture giving title People and Their Performance, the present context, where he talked about some HR issues and opportunities. After that, we have one more paper session where 10 papers were presented in two parts. Likewise, we have completed our third session and now we are in the last session. This is our valedictory session. So I request if anybody is volunteer to speak about the conference, is welcome. Anybody likes to speak about the conference? Sakpal sir,
Yes, madam.
will you speak something about our conference?
First of all, thanks to giving me the opportunity as a chairperson of this session. Today's uh, respected management, principal sir, convener of this international multidisciplinary conference, and coordinator and the organizing committee members. I think this conference is a very informative and knowledgeable to each and every participant. Those are participated in this conference, as well as those participants they present the paper. It is in all fields, means not only in the educational. I think it is in the commerce, in the science, in the environmental fields. Means there are so many papers. They are cover each and every era of the research, and that's why this conference is very informative and knowledgeable to the all the participants. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. We have chief guest over here. I would like to call Rajkumar Verma. Please introduce our guest for validatory function.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible, madam?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. Myself, Rajkumar Verma, on behalf of all members of One Day Multidisciplinary International E-Conference organized by JSM College, Chule, Commerce Department, I welcome one and all. It's great pleasure for me to introduce our chief guest, Professor Dr. Madhu Sunil Deshpande, madam. Dr. Deshpande, madam, is a professor, director, and head of Department of Management School of Commerce and Management Science at SRTM University, Nanded. She is a well educated, which can be seen from her educational qualification, which goes under BSc, MBA in Marketing and Finance, MCOM, PhD in Management Science, set in Commerce. Under her guidance, 8 students were awarded PhD and 4 students were awarded MPhil in SRTM University. She worked on a major research project as well as minor research projects and guided more than 150 students for projects of MBA in marketing and marketing management and more than 500 projects of business entrepreneurship. She has published 44 books at international and national level. Uh, she has attended 46 conference, seminars, workshops, and presented 33 papers at international, national, and state level. She worked as referee for PhD thesis in North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, Mumbai University, D.Y. Patil University, Kakatiya University, Osmania University, Hyderabad University, Amravati University, Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University, Pune, SF Pune University, Lucknow University, and Gujarat Technological University, Ahmedabad. She worked as chairperson, paper setter, examiner, moderator for PhD coursework, MPhil, PG, UG examination of SRTM University, Nanded. She worked as coordinator of orientation program for foreign students on 9th November 2011 at SRTM University, Nanded. She is involved in corporate work in various universities. Uh, she member of ad hoc board of SPMC SRTM University. She is member of ad hoc board of for MBA Center for Distance Education. She is member of state level advisory board at YCM Open University, Nashik. She is member of expert advisory committee, chief superintendent in SRTM University campus. She received best outstanding paper award of various international conference organized by University of Mumbai uh, on 2nd Feb 2011. Then Indra Institute of Management, uh, one second, Indra Institute of Management, Nanded on 26th Feb 2013. Research Development Association, Jaipur at Pondicherry on 22nd November 2014. Certificate of Appreciation from Honorable Founder Vice Chancellor SRTM University Nanded for sincere and dedicated work for development of the university during 1996 to 1999. Certificate of Appreciation from Honorable Vice Chancellor SRTM University for contribution to successful conduction of the Inspired Science Internship Camp 2012. Certificate of Appreciation from Honorable Vice Chancellor SRTM uh, University for contribution as a committee chairperson accommodation for successful organization of 11th Maharashtra State Inter-University Research Convention Avishkar 2016. So, with this brief introduction, I hand over to you, Professor Dr. Madhuri Sunil Deshpande, madam. Please, Deshpande, madam.
Good evening, all. At the outset, I congratulate the organizers, chairman, the organizing chairman, Dr. S.M. Patil, convener Ms. Vandana Singh, and the entire team of Shantarambhau Gholap Arts, Science, and Gotirambhau Pawar Commerce College for this initiative of one-day multidisciplinary international conference on transforming, redefining, and innovation for excellence in higher education of humanities, science and commerce, and management. My heartfelt thanks for the invitation and for the opportunity of having an interaction with you all on different perspectives of excellence in higher education. In the light of the theme, I would like to share a few innovative highlights of our National Education Policy 2020, which very aptly describe this theme of transforming, redefining, and innovation for excellence in education, not only higher education. Right from the beginning, all aspects of education they are being covered with various innovative aspects and features of this national education policy. And in the second part of my just sharing with you, I'll be dealing with I'll be getting a review of some of my research papers which are associated with various aspects of transforming as well as redefining and application of innovations with reference to higher education. Obviously, being a teacher of commerce and management, many of the aspects of commerce and management education I have covered with reference to my research activities as such. Well, regarding this, I would like to share my PPT with you. Just a moment. Uh, is the screen, my PPT visible?
It's not visible, ma'am.
Regarding present, shall I choose a window or a tab?
It is a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
So, actually, one second. Mm,
Madam, present with a window.
window will be do.
I tried that, but anyhow, it was not visible.
Okay. Just open the PowerPoint presentation.
Open.
Yeah, and then go for window.
It's already open.
I think just a minute. Yeah, ma'am. Just what you do, first you open the PowerPoint.
It's open.
Open, then go for this Google Meet, and then share that. You will just choose that window. It will come.
Okay, once again I will
minimize that first of all.
Minimizing the PPT.
No, don't minimize the PPT. Minimize this one.
So maybe because of that.
Yeah, don't minimize that PPT.
Fine. Now it would be visible.
Okay.
Is it visible now?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
But anyhow, I can't see you.
It's okay.
In case I miss something, then kindly communicate me on my mobile, right? Because I can't see the participants panel as such. With reference to the theme, I would like to go for some aspects regarding excellence in higher education. So with the vision of this National Education Policy 2020 will begin the innovative and very remarkable kind of features of the National Education Policy 2020. One of the major highlights was dealing with this change of name, Ministry of HRD, seeing some kind of a commercial aspect as such. It was changed to Ministry of Education as it was before. Very truly, this national education policy, it is truly national in character. Because anyhow, number of people, thousands and lakhs of people, they contributed with reference to their input in the policy, and as a result of deliberations, discussions, and input from majority of the stakeholders, this policy was incorporated. And again, very truly, it depicts an Indian model of education, Bharatiya education system. It is represented very truly out of this national education policy. Flexibility, that is one of the features of this national education policy. Multiple entry and multiple exits. Uh, there was much talk about this innovative and very remarkable kind of feature of our new national education policy as such. Anyhow, this national education policy, very truly, it is the first truly independent policy of independent India. In 1835, there was Indian Act for Education. It was enacted, and thereafter, as is being Lord Macaulay, he did some kind of just uh, impact of British persons. It was observed with reference to education policy. So thereafter, all the education policies, they were just having the limited objectives of developing some kind of literacy as such. The flavor of this Indian soil, it was missing, and because of that, now there is a hearty welcome to this national education policy from all corners of our country. With reference to flexibility, again, several different dimensions they are being observed. Like there was end of this education system which was divided on the basis of arts, commerce, science, and like that. Nowadays, all the compartmentalization of these different disciplines of knowledge, they have been just overcome, and now with that we have a very liberal and free kind of education system where we can pick up any aspect of a course from any discipline of this human knowledge as such. Universality, very truly, that is indicated out of this national education policy. Universality in the sense, uh, as we know previously, Nalanda, Takshashila, number of prominent Indian universities, scholars from all over the world, they used to come to India for the sake of learning, for the sake of getting knowledge and wisdom of various aspects of life. But thereafter it was missing. There was somewhat miserable condition, because at the time of enactment of this Indian Education Act in 1835, literacy percentage was more than 90%, which was dropped down to less than 20% at the time of our independence. But now, at this moment, universality indicates welcoming of top 100 foreign universities from all over the world to India. But anyhow, the basic condition is they have to abide by the rules, regulations, and laws of the land. No special concessions were offered to, they are being offered to any of the foreign university as such. At the same time, uh, again, so several provisions they are being made for the sake of just accessing the knowledge, accessing the remarkable kind of features of foreign universities for the sake of our students, those who are desiring to seek education in the foreign countries. Definitely they are being facilitated with reference to and with reference to that, this universality aspect, it has become very much prominent. Vocational education, at some point in time, it was just separated from the mainstream education. Now with this national education policy, vocational education, it has become a part of the mainstream education. Banbhatta's uh, indication regarding 64 arts, 64 kala, as is what just being phrased. It, uh, it was being comprised of not only singing, dancing, and such kind of arts, but simultaneously there was a inclusion of professional fields like medicine, like engineering. There was inclusion of vocational education, like in the form of carpentry, maybe cloth making. There was an inclusion of some kind of soft skills like debating, communication, soft skills. So this is how nowadays, with this national education policy, all the all-round development of the personality that is supposed to be groomed in case we are following all the policy guidelines in a very effective kind of manner. Nowadays we talk about liberal arts, but anyhow, when I told you about the 64 arts or kalas, literally the same conception was there in the form of liberal meaning of the concept of art. Anyhow, human endeavor, whatever human efforts they are being made, whatever performance level we indicate, definitely they are required to be innovative. They are required to be very much creative, and they are required to be very much unique and meaningful, so as to give so as to give a deep meaning, so as to give an element of values for the human life. So, anyhow, as we understand on the basis of our Indian ideology, education is not only for the sake of just getting knowledge, getting information. It is not only for the sake of just preparing a person for making the living. It is beyond that. Liberation of the self, that is again one of the just indication, one of the objectives out of the education, and so as to give justice for all round holistic development of the human beings, aesthetic level, moral level, social level, scientific level, all the aspects of the personality, all the perspectives, they are supposed to be covered out of this education. And we are moving toward that direction step by step in a systematic and a scientific kind of manner. Institutes of national importance for arts and social sciences, they have been just incorporated as a result of this national education policy. Incorporation of National Education Commission, that is again one of the aspects, one of the important aspects of effectiveness of this policy, along with introduction of National Research Foundation, which truly would be making an effort for the sake of developing knowledge, for the sake of just seeking knowledge, for the sake of sharing knowledge as well as wisdom, which is very much required on the basis of the requirement of this land. Regarding teacher education, various effective kind of measures they have been observed, like full 4 years full-time integrated kind of program. It is just being planned for the sake of educating teacher very systematically, recruitment, selection, training, development, all the aspects of teacher education and teacher effectiveness, they are being covered out of this policy. Full autonomy that is accorded to the teachers, and with that again a wide variety use of different kinds of pedagogies, teaching learning pedagogies, they have been incorporated in this national education policy. So I mean, number of things are there to be shared with reference to excellence in higher education. But anyhow, I restrict myself in the light of time constraint, which was just indicated. Um, I just indicated some major highlights. Now I would be coming to the second part of the presentation, in which I've worked in just several different years while dealing with this teaching learning process. I experimented with many ideas, and I dealt with many of the aspects of higher education. Always the endeavor was to find out what kind of role is of a teacher being expected, Then again, along with that, how well I'm performing, what kind of changes they are required while communicating the things and while just giving justice for the learning objectives as well as for the sake of learning outcomes as such. So while just finding out answers to several such kind of questions and for making a quest for perfection, for excellence, a number of research papers I presented and published in various conferences, seminars, publications in various journals of repute. Just I would like to just get a brief review regarding many of these things with reference to various titles. One of the papers which I wrote regarding this excellence in higher education, it was titled as Total Quality Service in Business Education, a Perspective. As we know, total quality management, it is a holistic, integrated kind of approach for the sake of including quality in whatever we do in the context of an organization. Everyone, right from the top man to lift man, is associated in achieving total quality. Total quality is not only about a specific aspect of the product. It is not only about the product. It is not only about the process, but all the processes, all the materials, all the activities, all the individuals, all the sections, holistic in a holistic manner. In case they are being just integrated together, then we get total quality. On similar lines, I tried to get a review regarding what exactly is the meaning of total quality service with reference to commerce as well as management education. So, for that paper, I worked on four aspects: service quality management, that was the first issue, in which various dimensions of the service quality, education quality, they were pursued, various stakeholders, they were identified, and in the light of that, now again, number of papers I wish to share with you. So I will be just sharing with you only brief highlights. In case you are interested in getting few more details, you can communicate to the convener, Miss Vandana. She will communicate and I will be sharing that kind of thing with you. In case the paper is published, I will be sharing the publication link. Nowadays examinations they are going on and planning for the next term is to begin. Otherwise I wanted to give the links also along with this presentation, but in the light of various emergencies it was not possible. But dear friends, anyhow, in case you are interested, kindly tell me. Accordingly, I'll be sharing all those links with you. So service quality management, some definitional kind of aspect it was indicated. On that basis, some stakeholders they were identified, and what are the expectations of each of the stakeholders very clearly it was expressed. And on that basis, on the basis of expectations and objectives of the stakeholders, the second stage of setting the right standard it was carried on. For the sake of setting right standards, number of quality methodologies they are available. I got out of hundreds of techniques, out of thousands of techniques, tools and philosophies. For this paper, I got a review of total quality management, Kaizen, quality circle, quality management system, benchmarking, and Six Sigma. All these six initiatives I analyzed, and on that basis, how the right standard it can be set, how the right target it can be set. That deliberation was indicated in this paper. Only setting the standard would not suffice the purpose. Along with that, quality service implementation, how it would be executed, some guidelines, definitely they are a must, because only anyhow it is being said that some fail to plan and some plan to fail. So this is how uh, execution aspect, again it is very very essential. Before the beginning, the execution issues they are supposed to be contemplated, and in the on that basis, uh, the planning aspect has to be made more and more effective and meaningful. After that, monitoring of service quality. Once you implement the quality service, your customers happy, all the stakeholders they are content with that, will not serve the purpose, because anyhow total quality, achieving total quality, that is a continuous and consistent kind of activity. There is no end. And because of that, continuously, it is a must to monitor the service quality. For monitoring of service quality, techniques like quality function deployment, innovation, and creativity. Now, some representative kind of ideas I incorporated in this paper. Along with that, there are several different ideas and several different views which can also be expressed for the sake of achieving total quality service in business education. With this, let us go for the second paper dealing with total quality management for strengthening industry education linkages, a journey towards continuous improvement. Here, I talked about total quality management only for one of the dimensions of the of management education, that is dealing with industry education kind of interaction. Only for that single activity, how TQM it can be applied. There was a deliberation in this paper for the sake of achieving the objective of continuous improvement. And for that purpose, I indicated these seven different kinds of tools and methodologies through which industry institute linkages they would be strengthened with reference to application of this total quality management. First was total quality education. First highlight of this strategy was total quality education. Total quality education indicated, again, as I said, total quality service. Same dimension it was applied for the sake of for this qualifying the concept of total quality education. Now, total quality education, what do stakeholders they expect from total quality education? There are expectations of the students, definitely. Student always is the central focus of the education system. So their expectation, they are supposed to be analyzed in detail. Thereafter, expectations of the faculty, the demand of the faculty, that was the another dimension. Then requirements of the administrative staff, again they are supposed to be considered. And along with that, the parents, again, the parents are considered to be different stakeholders. And the next, and one of the most important kind of elements regarding this total quality education was concerned with industry. So, industry education linkage, it is required right from the beginning. Before planning the procedure, before planning the system and the design, involvement and interaction of industry and education, that is indicated out of this total quality education concept. Closely attached to that is the next issue of customer focus. Quality begins with the customer and quality ends with the customer. So, whatever decision is being taken at any phase of the value chain, definitely customer is and customer continues to be the focus. Who is the customer? The concept of customer may vary from time to time, but anyhow, focus should not be lost. That kind of care has to be taken, and with that care only, these industry education linkages they can be strengthened and they can be made more meaningful for development of the society. Then vision statement. In case you want to achieve the ultimate total quality education or total quality service, definitely it has to begin with mission as well as vision. There has to be a clarity right from the beginning regarding what exactly is to be achieved in what kind of time frame. And in the light of mission and vision, objectives, goals, policies, strategies, tactics, all other aspects, they consequently they follow. And definitely with that, from top to bottom, the manner in which it is expected activities they would be taking place in the expected manner in an appropriate kind of way. So, vision statement is the guiding star, and in the light of vision statement, hierarchy of objectives that is set, and higher level objectives they are converted into lower level objectives as well as goals, so that everyone understands what is my role, what should I do, what is expected from me. and what exactly I should expect from the organization. So that kind of clarity it could be established consequently. Then SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis of all the parameters of this education, SWOT analysis of the students, SWOT analysis of the faculty, SWOT analysis of the infrastructure, SWOT analysis of the industry, SWOT analysis of the institute, all such kinds of aspects, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats or challenges. So that kind of analysis frequently, deliberately, on the basis of a definite time interval, it has to be met. Then another interesting feature of this TQL policy is dealing with Deming Will. Deming Will is having the cycle, continuous cycle of PDCA. Deming Will is also just labeled as PDCA cycle. That is plan, do, check, and act. Planning is to be made by industry as well as education. On that basis, doing aspect that would be covered by the students along with the teachers, and consequently checking activity it has to take place with the collaboration of industry as well as education, and on that basis it is to be decided what kind of corrective action it is to be taken. So continuously that kind of setting, resetting goals, making kind of revisions and modification, it is being done at each successive phase. Definitely with that it would be very much easy to just reach at the ultimate goal of total quality education. Then another parameter of this strategy for achieving this total quality education is change management. Change management, that is a must. As and when you're talking about continuous improvement, as and when you're talking about excellence, perfection, definitely with that, a status quo cannot be maintained. Some kind of just overcoming the inertia, that is the requirement. So various techniques of change management, definitely they are to be adopted, and with that learnability has to be established in the organization. We are living in an information society, and with that definitely learning organizations, definitely they are required for the wholehearted kind of all-round kind of progress of the society. Team spirit, definitely in absence of team spirit it may not be possible to just give justice for the total quality education. There is nothing like leaders and followers. The requirement is of a team, and together the team together each one achieves more. That kind of essence and that kind of spirit it has to follow. So I'm just talking about only the highlights, only the key issues dealing with various aspects in which we can transform, in which we can redefine whatever just teaching learning methodologies we are adopting, whatever infrastructure we are having, whatever resources we are deploying, we are identifying. So friends, definitely role of a teacher, all of us in the role of a teacher, we have to appreciate that at some point in time, role of a teacher, it was as a tutor, but nowadays role of a teacher, it has been enhanced to being an operations manager, with reference to aligning as well as facilitating various resources, and just developing an ambience in which everyone would feel like learning. Because only it is not sufficient that teacher they are very much spirited, they want to teach. In case there is no one to learn, howsoever effective and responsible teacher is, ultimately the effect would be nullified, the efforts would be in vain. And because of that, what is important is the justice, giving justice for the all aspects of the teaching learning process. So, another paper title is Kaizen in Higher Education, the never ending search for perfection. Basically, Kaizen means continuous improvement. So, with this Kaizen philosophy, also very much you can arrive, we can very much reach to your just dream destination in the form of total quality education. Three main highlights I covered under this presentation, like Kaizen system, Kaizen team, and Kaizen meetings. Kaizen system indicates what exactly exactly at what area, with what objectives, with what outcomes I am just pursuing this Kaizen philosophy in my organization. How the initiation it takes place, what kind of objectives they are set, what kind of framework that is being designed, and what kind of timelines they are developed. So this is how Kaizen system it has to be developed. Consequently, in the light of the Kaizen system, simultaneously Kaizen team is to be developed. So a hierarchy has to be developed, and each just each employee in that hierarchy would be entrusted with the tasks. Normally, we observe the organizational hierarchy like there are top administrators who deal with strategic formulations, who deal with policy formulations as such. The next level of the organizational hierarchy indicates middle level managers. Basically, they are entrusted with the task of converting the strategies and the policies developed by the top administrators in a language understandable by the rank and file of the organization. They should communicate, they convert the top manager's language in a language understandable by the frontline managers and the rank and file of the organization. So Kaizen team that is again following a definite kind of just reporting structure and communication linkages. Next in turn is the procedure to be understood regarding Kaizen meetings. These Kaizen meetings they are conducted once a month in the workplace or near about the workplace. The meetings they are conducted. Everyone is to speak about whatever improvement I made in the last month, whatsoever small or trivial the improvement is, but anyhow it has to be reported, and no one is supposed to make any kind of comment, any kind of judgment, any kind of just criticism regarding whatever improvement has been suggested by the members. And it is not compulsory for everyone to speak, but anyhow all those who have made some kind of improvement, definitely they are inspired to talk, and others also they are inspired in case they have not done anything, seeing the deliberations and just listening to the others, they are again being motivated for the sake of continuous improvement. So it is again the Kaizen philosophy that is against the breakthrough kind of innovations, wherein overnight changes they are just being indicated. Kaizen philosophy that is a small improvement take place in small and gradual steps, but it is a continuous kind of activity. Next paper deals with customer relationship management and business education. So we know customer relationship management basically in the context of marketing, in the context of general management. But basically when we apply it for the sake of business education, I have developed a strategic framework of this customer relationship management. With that, the first element is electronic customer relationship management, developing a digital kind of infrastructure so that all the stakeholders 24 by 7 they would be in touch with each other as and when required. Obviously, for any philosophy to work, there is a need of top management commitment, there is a need of dynamic leadership, because some role models are required, some inspiring kind of personalities, charismatic kind of personalities are required, and with that people they start believing in the philosophy, believing in the mechanism, and with that cooperation that is spread at all levels of the organization. Industry institute interaction, again, that is one of the features of this CRM. In absence of that, this CRM it would not be meaningful and effective. Program design and delivery. In the light of PDs, now again you'll find that different terminologies they have been used in different quality technologies as such. But anyhow, you will observe that many commonalities are there. All these different terminologies they are not just like watertight compartments. There is some kind of overlapping. There is some kind of intermingling. Some interrelatedness are there. Some overlapping is there. So that has to be understood. Program design and delivery in the sense some planning activity, planning, doing, checking, and acting. Plan, do, check, and act. Just setting the targets, planning the goals, then performing the activity, measuring the activity, and if required, making the corrective action. So this is how program design and delivery, it speaks about the same. First, design it, and then accordingly deliver it, and get the feedback. And on the basis of feedback, if at all there is a need for revision or modification, do it. Then teaching learning methodology, that has to be decided. Number of teaching learning methodologies, they are available. So as per the convenience and as per the need of the situation, uh, that kind of choice of the methodologies, they can be chosen. Networking, obviously there is a very indispensable kind of role of good networking. In a networking, we have to understand the
मैडम कॉल करते हैं
कर रही हूँ
है ना मैडम
मैडम।
हाँ
हाँ हाँ कर रही हूँ।
extremely sorry. Thanks, Vandana, for informing me.
No worries.
Some highway work is going on in our university campus.
Yeah.
So fiber optic cable that is destroyed. So
Yeah.
our Wi-Fi is completely put at to an end.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'm managing with my own dongle. Dongle also stopped working. Now a mobile hotspot I have taken.
Okay, ma'am.
So we're talking about total quality education as such, and we are observing such kind of disruptions due to technology.
Yes.
Once again, I would like to share my screen. Anyhow, time is up, so just in few moments,
Yeah.
I would like to sum up
Yeah.
because time allotted already, that is to finish within 5 minutes. So I will try my best to finish up within the given time. Is it visible?
Hi. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So different kinds of teaching learning methodologies they are
Ma'am, your
available.
slides is not moving. I think it is on the slide number 6, I think.
Now is it okay?
Ah, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So teaching learning methodologies, they are with reference to lecture method, maybe seminars, panel discussions, group discussions, then again case discussions, role playing, simulations, management games, and like that. So along with that, work experience necessarily it has to be one of the components dealing with teaching learning process. Along with that, value, concept, and educational technology, multimedia kind of just involvement. That is again a must for improving quality of teaching learning. With that, let us come to the next paper, making management education entrepreneurial, an emerging kind of priority. For this paper, I focused on these different kinds of techniques as such. First was creativity, then innovation, definitely edupreneurship. That is that term has been coined so as to introduce an element of entertainment, an element of interest in the teaching learning kind of methodology. The moment at which you are being creative and innovative in delivering the concepts, in making them understand the things, you are arousing the learnability. Definitely, that education becomes entrepreneurial. Then again, research regarding the methods, regarding the resources, research regarding the philosophies, various kinds of philosophies, research regarding various kinds of curriculum, syllabi, that is a must. And with that, we can say that now the entrepreneurial management education we are enjoying and we are just delivering. An element of entrepreneurship, definitely, it is a must with reference to management education. In the element of entrepreneurship education means education about entrepreneurship. At the same time, element of entrepreneurship in education indicates that you are making education in an innovative kind of way. You're a hatke. So that kind of aspect, it is a must while dealing with the deliberations and while just sharing various kinds of methodologies as well as philosophies. Then again, work experience, educational technology, they are having their own importance with reference to entrepreneurization of the education. So with this, uh, I would like to stop because anyhow, a teacher of management has to give justice for time management, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Very well said.
Yes. Some reflections are there, something is to be added, something is to be asked. You're welcome for that.
I think if anybody is having any questions, you can put forward, madam. I think everybody is sitting from morning. All are right now. So very well said, madam. New education policy is need of the hour, and that's why we have to transform our education system from traditional to modern approach. Now, I would like to call Professor B.S. Ahal, sir, to propose a vote of thanks, sir. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Are you there in my team? I think. Hi, sir. No, this is the some technical
करून
issues.
टाका मॅडम तुम्ही करून टाका
I think मैंने अभी मैसेज किया था. He is ready. I think
व्हेरी नाईस लेक्चर मॅडम नमस्ते
Thank you, Namaste, madam.
she is our vice principal of our college, Geeta madam. One minute. Just I will call him. Okay. हाँ सर. हाँ ओके ओके, एक मिनट, हाँ, रिज्वाइन कीजिए.
Hello. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Singh, ma'am. Good evening, one and all. I am Professor B.S. Iyer from the Department of English. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this conference. First of all, I am on behalf of my college very much thankful to the President of our management, Honorable G.P. Pawar Commerce, for his all types of support and motivation to organize these types of programs, sharing his valuation for us and giving an inspirational speech. I would like to thank the Principal B.R. Wilson, Joint Secretary of our Sanstha, for giving wonderful speech in the conference. Then I would like to thank to Mr. Siddharth Radhan for his keynote address. Now let me thank all the chief guests of all the sessions, Dr. Piali Ghosh, Dr. Sami Ikhan, Dr. Madhuri S. Deshpande from Nanded, and the chairperson of the sessions, Dr. P.B. Patil and Dr. D.M. Sapka. After these, I thank our principal, Dr. S.M. Patil, and vice principal, Dr. G.R. Vishay ma'am. Without their help, this conference would not have been a success. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants and to those who read research papers. Last but not the least, I thank Vandana Singh ma'am for all the efforts she has taken to organize this conference, and I also thank all the members of organizing committee and all the known and unknown people who have helped to make this conference a grand success. And with the permission of organizer, I declare that this conference is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
So much.
Thank you, sir. Everybody, thank you very much to make
Was
this
very
successful.
nice conference, very well systematic, organized.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
Hello,
Thank you.
ma'am. I'm Dr. Madhu Shukre from B.K. Birla College.
Yeah.
With my colleague, Mr. Anand Dharmadhikari sir, Dr. Dharmadhikari sir, and very nice organized.